Without so much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. We have assembled some of the most unbelievable moments of destruction ever caught on camera. From a 700-year-old church collapsing in an earthquake to a farm being totally decimated by a tornado. It's TV taken to the extreme. I'm Ron Pitts, and this is Destroyed in Seconds. Along a major trucking artery in southern Taiwan, a semi has just rear-ended a tanker truck. The tanker contains 25 tons of a highly flammable chemical called styrene, and the spreading fire threatens to detonate the tanker. Firefighters attack the flames at all angles, but the fire refuses to submit. The pressure inside the cylinder builds as firefighters struggle to cool the tanker. The intensity of the heat creates tornado-shaped flames shooting from the tanker. It's a final warning. Firefighters retreat as burning shrapnel pelts them from above. A reporter on the scene runs to an injured fireman. Further analysis reveals the flames surrounding the styrene-filled tank heated the chemical beyond its combustion point of 914 degrees. This spontaneous ignition erupts more than 250 feet into the air. The blast instantly vaporized all 25 tons of the chemical inside the tanker. With no fuel to burn, the fire dissipates. Damage is widespread. The cab of the tanker looks like a bombed-out shell. As for the semi, all that remains is its charred and melted chassis. In the end, 4 firefighters received only minor injuries when this tanker truck exploded and shook this Taiwanese highway.
The forecast is for winds between 18 knots, gusting to 22.
1997, Cape Canaveral, Florida. The U.S. Air Force is about to launch its Delta II rocket, carrying a state-of-the-art navigational satellite.
Currently, the launch team is not working any issues.
SSC hydraulic external power on.
Delta Launch Control closely monitors the event.
100% locks.
100% LOX topping is reported. We're at T-minus 47 seconds and counting.
45. Main power disable on.
Spirits are high today because this rocket launch will kick off a year-long celebration for the 50th anniversary of the U.S. Air Force.
RCO report range go for launch. RCO range go.
The range safety officer reports clear to launch.
All systems check, and the countdown begins.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have ignition and liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Station of the Air Force Delta II launch vehicle carrying the new GPS 2R satellite. We have had an anomaly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have ignition and liftoff.
The U.S. Air Force has just launched its Delta II rocket carrying a GPS satellite. Then, at just 1,589 feet, something goes terribly wrong.
We have had an anomaly.
254 tons of flaming debris shower the landscape.
We just had an anomaly of the Delta II launch vehicle from Cape Canaveral Air Station. This is Air Force Delta Launch Control. We need to secure the area.
The explosion is felt as far as 25 miles away, and smoke from the blast is seen from much of Florida's eastern coast.
We had liftoff 11:22 a.m. of a Delta II rocket, and we did have a major problem.
An investigation reveals that one of the rocket's 9 boosters contained an internal 17-foot crack. This catastrophic defect leads to the explosion moments after liftoff.
Have ignition and liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Station of the Air Force Delta II launch vehicle carrying the new...
Despite the U.S. Air Force's $95 million loss, no one is injured when the Delta II rocket explodes. To mark World No Smoking Day in Thailand, anti-smoking activists are holding a mock funeral procession. Being laid to rest is a 40-foot nylon cigarette used to represent the dangers of smoking. The cigarette makes its way through town and stops at a group of awaiting dignitaries. Thai singing sensation Payong Mukta is given the symbolic task of cutting the cigarette in half to kick off the anti-smoking celebration. However, the dull knife makes slicing through the mock cigarette impossible. But Payong is determined to get the show going. Unfortunately, he's about to get it going up in flames. A closer look shows that just as the balloons are about to be released, the gas inside ignites, melting the cigarette and sending a wall of flames across the grandstand. The people closest to the blaze are left with burnt hands, scorched faces, and missing eyebrows. The investigation into the explosion was inconclusive, but this incident is yet more evidence that cigarettes in any form can be hazardous to your health. At 14,000 feet in the Tian Shan Mountains, a helicopter arrives to take a climbing expedition to their base camp. Quickly, the cargo and passenger holds are filled with gear and climbers, and it isn't long before the craft is overloaded. The pilot realizes that the helicopter is too heavy to take off. Videographer Stefan Nowak and several others are forced to disembark in order to lighten the load. Stefan rolls as the helicopter strains to lift off in the thin mountain air. Then, as it passes the ridge, the group senses something is wrong. The former passengers watch in horror. Others rush to the scene. As Stefan struggles to get to the wreckage, his camera catches passengers fleeing the burning helicopter. He sets his camera in the snow and continues to roll. Small fuel canisters on board can be seen exploding, adding to the blaze. By the time Stefan arrives, everyone has made it out safely. A second look reveals that the Russian M18 loses lift, causing the rotor to slam into the ice. Thankfully, no one on board was seriously injured. Morton Island, Australia. A research team is on their way to an artificial reef they've created by scuttling unwanted ships. They've brought with them the newest addition to their underwater paradise, an old ship named the Enterprise.
What's this? The last voyage of the Enterprise?
The plan is to scuttle the vessel. This operation will be managed by an explosives expert who will detonate C4 charged directional explosives precisely into the weakest points of the ship's hull. In theory, this should provide a graceful descent into the ocean. Normally, demolition experts would detonate the charges remotely from a safe location. But having performed similar sinkings in the past, the experts feel confident enough to stay on board. With all explosives ready to go, a siren blares, warning anyone within the vicinity to stay clear.
Now. They put too much in there. Holy moly.
The brute force of the explosion actually launches a team member above the canopy of the vessel. And a piece of flying shrapnel barely misses the cameraman.
Anyone injured?
Thinks his leg's broken.
He thinks his leg's broken.
With its hull blown open, the ship floods with seawater and begins to sink. To make matters worse, the team member that was blown into the air has seriously injured his leg.
Get off the boat as quick as you can.
With The boat sinking and no time for medical treatment, the injured man scoots across the deck. The vessel begins to list, and if the crew cannot abandon the ship in time, they run the risk of being sucked beneath the surface with the sinking ship. Finally, the injured man reaches the other boat. As rescuers arrive to take him to a nearby hospital.
Here it goes.
Only moments later, the Enterprise disappears into the water. What went wrong? The research team underestimated the power of the explosives they used to scuttle the vessel.
They put too much in there.
Thankfully, the Enterprise now safely sits at the bottom of the bay, creating a new habitat for marine life and an exciting destination for divers. It's a beautiful day in Fullerton, California, and the locals are celebrating their biennial event, Airport Day. This special day lets residents get an up-close look at the planes that use this municipal airfield. One airplane in particular, a 1920s Ford tri-motor replica, has caught a cameraman's eye. As the plane taxis down the runway, it suddenly veers off course and heads straight toward a group of people. The cameraman runs for cover. Luckily, the pilot manages to take off, barely missing terrified bystanders.
He's gonna crash.
But a serious problem remains. The first sign of trouble occurs when the pilot narrowly misses the bystanders. Then, once airborne, problems with the plane become more severe. As the left wing dips, the plane loses lift. Called a tip stall, the plane literally slips sideways out of the sky. Firefighters arrive almost immediately, quickly hosing down the plane to prevent a fire. When it's safe, medics carefully attend to the wounded pilots. A photograph of the airplane taken by a spectator moments before the accident shows a nylon strap attached between the left elevator and the rudder. This strap should have been removed prior to takeoff and was the sole cause of the crash.
It's gonna crash.
Although the pilot and co-pilot sustained serious injuries, no one is killed in the accident. Today, locals still celebrate Airport Day, but will never forget
He's gonna crash.
this chilling moment. September 1997, the historic town of Assisi, Italy, suffers a devastating 5.5 magnitude earthquake. Dozens of buildings, homes, and businesses are turned to rubble. And for 2 straight days, residents must endure relentless aftershocks, which continue toppling buildings and fraying the nerves of townspeople. Now that the Earth is finally settled, crews begin an effort to save some of the ancient and priceless buildings. Unfortunately, many are beyond repair. Now officials are inspecting one of their most important shrines, the Basilica of St. Francis. The 700-year-old church is still standing, but has significant damage, and many of the beautifully hand-painted frescoes are cracked and chipped. Church officials and art historians collect bits of the plaster paintings in hopes that they will one day be able to restore the magnificent works of art. Unfortunately, that painstaking task is about to become even more monumental. Little does anyone know, the Earth still holds one more aftershock. The camera goes to black as the confusion inside sets in. Those blinded by the debris desperately call out for each other. Outside, the dust-covered victims emerge, trying to make sense of what just happened. Thankfully, rescuers are already racing to the scene. Just as the aftershock hits, People can be seen rushing for the exit. Unfortunately, they're running directly into the falling plastic. When the dust settles, 4 people are dead. Several more left injured. It's a tragic day for the citizens of Assisi as they mourn the loss of life and the destruction of this historic sanctuary.
Hey, guys, there's a tornado.
A news helicopter pilot flying over the plains of Oklahoma spots this large twister.
It's a large tornado. There's some structures there. Looks like it's going to be right in the path here.
And when it hits a farm,
I think it's a pig farm.
there's no hope.
Oh, no.
This aerial viewpoint clearly shows the farm literally being shredded apart while its pieces swirl around the immense vortex.
I'm over several structures, and that one's destroyed.
Keep in mind, these are walls, doors, and roofs being buffeted like confetti.
It's a large tornado. Very large.
Inside those barns are 3,900 head of livestock. Most of the animals survive because their metal cages protect them from flying debris. It only takes moments for this farm to be completely destroyed. People on the ground survive by taking refuge inside of a brick-walled office.
That's the most impressive tornado I think I've ever seen.
2 years earlier, a news helicopter also in Oklahoma captures a tornado approaching an airport.
It's headed right over the airport, right towards a couple of hangars here. It's moving directly to the east, right towards us. We're about 1.5 miles from it.
As it gets closer to the hangars, the tornado's winds increase to more than 100 miles per hour.
You can see the wind coming out of the hangars or around the hangars right now. The tornado's getting a little more defined.
As this tornado strikes the El Reno airport, at least 2 other twisters are touching down elsewhere in Oklahoma, both from the same storm system.
We got the other funnel coming down to the north now. We've got 2 tornadoes on the ground right now.
This tornado is extremely rare. It's anticyclonic, meaning it's spinning clockwise instead of counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. That happens less than 1% of the time.
So this tornado's getting bigger. This is El Reno Airport.
The eye of the tornado now looms directly over the hangars and rips the roofs right off the structures, tearing apart the 12 planes stowed inside. The hangars and planes are destroyed, but fortunately, no one was inside. Analysis of these 2 tornadoes determined that they were only Category F1. Had they been more powerful, these outcomes could have been much worse.
That's the most impressive tornado I think I've ever seen.
A massive hurricane is approaching the state of Hawaii. Strong winds are already blowing across the islands. They've named it Hurricane Iniki. Residents fear the worst. Last-minute preparations are underway. Locals board up homes, stockpile food, and fill their cars with gas. Entire communities pack into hotel basements seeking protection from the impending storm. Outside, the winds of Hurricane Iniki are already exceeding 100 miles per hour as the eye of the hurricane draws near. Just before 4 p.m., the eye wall hits land. Its power is unleashed. The hurricane rips through Kauai. The winds pummel small towns and villages across the island. In Ama'o, a family can only watch while a house across the street is destroyed. In the small town of Hanapepe, a carport bounces violently from the harrowing winds. Moments later, then in Kalo'a, a terrified family has decided to ride out the storm in their home. But the roof is not withstanding the force of the hurricane. 23 miles north in Kapahi, Iniki's destructive winds attack this 2-story home. The next day, it's clear that Iniki has destroyed almost everything in its path. The Category 4 hurricane sustained wind speeds of 140 miles per hour. Gusts were measured at 227 miles per hour. 54 miles per hour faster than Hurricane Katrina, and one of the highest wind speeds ever recorded inside a hurricane. I'm Ron Pitts. Good night, and we'll see you next time.